Alright guys, Pterodactyl here, and today we're going to take a look at Chernobylite, and I will let you know if it's worth playing or not. If you like this video, then give it a like, subscribe for more, and if you purchase this in the Epic Store, then please consider using my creator code, Pterodactyl86. Chernobylite is a first-person sci-fi survival horror RPG developed by Farm 51. The game is set in Chernobyl, and the developers visited the Chernobyl exclusion zone to take 3D scans of the environment to faithfully recreate some areas. The story takes place 30 years after the explosion at the power plant, and you play as a scientist that worked at the plant named Igor. Your primary goal is to find out what happened to your fiancée 30 years ago as she mysteriously disappeared. You will come up against a hostile military force, other stalkers, and supernatural creatures. There are quite a few different gameplay mechanics to touch on here, including shooting, stealth, survival, base building, crafting, and companions. The shooting mechanics are pretty solid. All the weapons are pretty punchy, they do good damage and are all satisfying to use. However, there are only 4 weapons in the game: the revolver, an AK-47, a shotgun, and a craftable plasma gun, so not a great selection at all. The gunfights you have against the AI can be a little disappointing. Since the weapons can do a lot of damage, you can take out the AI with quick headshots before they can really do anything. But headshots are satisfying though. But when you are in a fight, there are a few things that lessen the experience. First, the AI all have laser pointers on their weapons, so you can just see their lasers shining at you all the time. Also, they seem to pretty much never miss a shot, and only shoot in single fire despite all being equipped with AKs. It's a bit strange. Their programming seems a bit off as well, as sometimes I've had instances of them trying to shoot me through buildings. So firefights can be a strange mix of satisfying when you take them out, but also a bit underwhelming due to how the enemy react to you. The supernatural creatures are mainly melee based enemies. They can quickly move and teleport around, and this is where a strange design decision comes in with Chernobylite. You cannot hip fire. I think every shooter I have ever played, you can hip fire. Yeah, it's less accurate, but it's good in a pinch. So instead of hip firing when you mouse click without ADSing, you do a melee attack. It takes a bit of getting used to, and it feels like the game wants you to play stealthily instead of going in guns blazing. Now, stealth is pretty simple. You crouch down to make yourself harder to spot, and you can hide in bushes or behind cover to be completely hidden. And that's pretty much it for stealth. You can sneak up behind the human enemies and perform a stealth takedown, but you cannot move the body. So if someone else spots it, they will become alerted and start searching for you. The game also desperately needs some sort of distraction mechanic, like throwing a stone to lure away the enemy from their patrol paths. It's disappointing that, in my opinion, stealth is missing a distraction mechanic and the ability to move and hide bodies. When I hear someone say a game has survival mechanics, I instantly think of 2 bars: food and water, that you have to babysit so your character doesn't die after 30 minutes of gameplay. Thankfully, Chernobylite doesn't have these bars. Where survival comes in is in your psych meter and resource collecting. With psych, this lowers when you see something spooky or by killing enemies with weapons. As your psych lowers, you start seeing more and more spooky things. Once I was sneaking around a building and a child's doll suddenly got glowing green eyes and looked at me. But throughout my entire playthrough, I kept my psych high either by taking out people with stealth, which doesn't lower psych, or by having consumables to restore it. There are a ton of resources to collect in Chernobylite, and you use these resources to craft consumables, upgrades, and build structures. Since these are key to the game, you will pretty much be running around with your PDA out throughout the entire game, constantly scanning to find these resources to pick them up. I would say 70% of my time in the game was spent with my PDA out exploring and looking for resources. Though exploring the zones is good, as each zone is easy to navigate and they have a number of secrets to find. So I mentioned base building. Yes, while exploring you can build some structures to help you craft on the spot, or you can build things to reduce the amount of radiation throughout the game and the monsters that spawn in. You also have a main base where you can build upgrades to make new weapons, upgrade these weapons, grow plants, build armor and more. It's very similar to Fallout 4's building system. The weapon upgrade system is like a pretty standard upgrade system. You use resources to swap out certain parts for different ones that may have positive or negative effects. Each thing you build in your base has effect on some meters such as power requirements, air quality, radiation and companion comfort. So if you build one thing, it could take some power to generate, meaning you need to build an extra power generator, but that power generator may generate radiation or lower the air quality. So you need to keep building various structures to keep your base in good condition. If your base is in a bad way, then this will affect your health and psyche along with your companions. So yes, you can recruit a number of companions. Each of these companions has a number of quests that you can do for them, but you cannot go out on a mission with them. But the purpose they serve during most of the game is that you can send them out on missions to gather extra supplies for you. You can give them a weapon and armor to increase some stats they have, and this impacts their mission success rate. However, their stats are not explained at all, and it's strange. When I gave one of my companions an AK, it lowered their intelligence. But why would it do that? And what does intelligence even do in this game? The devs really need to add some tooltips here. Lastly, let's mention the zones and mission structure. The game is split into days. You choose which mission you and your companions will take at the beginning of each day. You complete the mission and then you go back to base, sleep and repeat. There are a total of 5 zones that you can visit in this game, and you will revisit them a lot. The zones do not change their layout at all throughout the game. Their environmental effects can change and points of interest can come and go, but beyond that they stay the same. The missions themselves are just either speak to this person or collect this thing, over and over. There are a couple of different ones throughout the game. The mission design feels so lazy and underdeveloped. Now, I'm not going to class this as a spoiler, since you can see the plan for the last mission right next to where you assign the daily missions. But the last mission just reminds me so much of Mass Effect 2's final mission. You go on a heist to the main power plant of Chernobyl, so you assign your companions to certain tasks, and you have many decisions to make along the way. I have no idea why the devs didn't make more missions work like this. It's such a missed opportunity. One thing that is really cool though, is that during the game you have to make certain decisions that can affect the story and your companions. But you can actually change these. Using a certain resource you can view these decisions and change the outcome of them. It's really cool, and it means that you don't really have to play a second time to get the most out of the game. The game looks good. The environments here stand out more when compared to everything else, especially when there are more environmental effects going on like fog. It can feel pretty immersive. The game also performs pretty well, and what's good is that it has DLSS support, so as long as you have a card that supports DLSS, then you should have no problems running the game at all. Character models feel pretty basic though, along with some animations. Also, every single character in the game wears some sort of mask, so there is no lip syncing at all. Now, you can explain this away because you are in Chernobyl, but most of the enemies don't wear gas masks. They wear balaclavas, while other friendly NPCs do wear gas masks. It just feels really lazy. Stick a mask on everyone so you don't have to do lip sync. It does take away a lot from the character interaction, especially during a heated discussion, because you just can't read their expressions. I did my playthrough with the Russian language voiceovers on for that extra immersion, and I would say that the Russian voice acting has been done to a high quality. Weapons all sound punchy, which suits them as they all do good damage. Most of the music is slow and eerie, which is suitable for exploring, but it's mostly forgettable. As I was writing this script, I couldn't remember the music at all. At the time of review, there are no DLC or microtransactions. So in conclusion, it really sounds like I've been dumping on the game throughout this entire review, and yes, many of the mechanics are pretty standard or a bit underdeveloped. But this game is better than the sum of its parts. Putting all these mechanics together does make this game good. Even by revisiting the same areas over and over, I enjoyed my experience of Chernobylite. If you go into this game expecting something like the Metro series, then you will be disappointed. This game is more like Fallout but with some of the combat taken out. So yes, I would recommend playing this game if you are a fan of post-apocalyptic games, or at the very least, wishlist it so you can grab it in a sale. If you do purchase this on the Epic Store, then please consider using my creator code Pterodactyl86. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this video has been useful to you, and I'll see you on the next one.